Imagine having a boss that complained about paying his employees overtime pay. So much so that he flat out admitted, I just didn't do it. I wouldn't even pay him. I shouldn't be saying this in front of a crowd, but I would not pay overtime pay to these people. Imagine that boss now claiming that he is not going to tax people's overtime pay. Would you really believe him? Would you actually believe that person if they complained about paying someone overtime and is now telling you they're not even going to tax overtime? Because that's exactly what Donald Trump is doing.
And you know, it's going to lead to great things. A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated. This is going to lead to a lot more. I think it's going to be economically positive, but I'm not even doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because like the no tax on overtime, it's something so good.
I have a question for the MAGAs. Why do you think a rich guy who was born rich, who's always been rich, who has never shown any evidence at all of caring about poor and middle class people, why do you think that person is for you? If you are someone who makes under like $70,000 a year, you're struggling to make ends meet, or whatever, what makes you think a rich guy who doesn't know how to shop for groceries, who's never even had to drive himself anywhere, is thinking about doing something for you? He has absolutely no purpose for you at all. He has absolutely, there is not a trail of things he's done for poor and middle class people. In fact, there's a trail of things he's done to poor and middle class people. Nothing positive at all. So why would you think he is for you? And I have another question, because they're always saying, if Kamala Harris is going to do these things she says she's going to do, why isn't she doing them now? She's not the president of the United States. However, Donald Trump was the president of the United States. So if Donald Trump weren't going to tax your tips or your overtime pay, why didn't he do that in his first term? Seriously. If he really thought about that, if he really is for the working class, the middle class, and poor people, why didn't he take those things away in his first term? My answer, because he's not telling you the truth. He never does tell the truth. These are all things he is saying to get elected. If you notice, Donald Trump goes into every city. He evaluates the city for what they need. And then he starts making empty promises to these people based on what he thinks they want to hear. He's gone from, I'm going to cut your taxes 15% to now 20%. Every time he looks at the polls and sees that he's behind, he starts promising more things that he will never come through on. Because again, if he were going to come through on these things, he would have done them in his first term. He did not, because he doesn't care. Donald Trump is running for president for a couple of reasons. One is because he's narcissistic. He just wants to be able to tell people that he was a two-term president. Number two, he is trying to stay out of jail. He said in one of his rallies today, it's not going to be pretty for me if Kamala Harris becomes president, because he knows all of the investigations will continue. And the other reason is so that he stays in power, so that he can pay off the favors that were made to him by the rich people who got him elected the first time. That is the only reason Donald Trump is running for president. It is not for you. It is not for me. It is not to do one damn thing for one single American person. It is all about himself. Period.